Once upon a time, there was a little girl named Emily. She lived in a small village in the countryside with her parents, two older brothers, and their dog, Max. Emily loved spending her days exploring the fields and meadows around her home, and she often went on long walks with Max. One day, Emily and Max came across a beautiful flower that they had never seen before. The flower was tall and had large, bright pink petals. Emily was fascinated by the flower and wanted to learn more about it. She picked a few petals and brought them back to her house. When Emily showed her mother the flower, her mother told her that it was a type of wild rose. Emily was thrilled to have discovered something new, and she couldn't wait to learn more. She asked her mother if she could plant some of the wild rose seeds she had collected, and her mother agreed. Emily planted the seeds in a small garden patch near her house, and she tended to them every day. She watered them, weeded the garden, and made sure they had plenty of sunlight. Before long, the seeds sprouted into tiny seedlings, and Emily was overjoyed. As the weeks went by, the wild roses grew taller and more beautiful. They had bright pink petals and a sweet, fragrant scent. Emily's garden became the talk of the village, and people would often stop by to admire the wild roses. One day, Emily's older brother, Jack, came home from school with a science project. He had to grow a plant and track its growth for several weeks. Jack had chosen to grow a tomato plant, but he was having trouble getting it to grow properly. Emily wanted to help her brother, so she took him to her garden and showed him the wild roses. She explained how she had grown them from seeds and how she had cared for them every day. Jack was impressed by his little sister's knowledge and asked her to help him with his project. Emily agreed, and they worked together to transplant the tomato plant into a larger pot. Emily showed Jack how to water the plant and how to make sure it had enough sunlight. She also taught him how to prune the plant so that it would grow strong and healthy. Over the next few weeks, Jack's tomato plant grew taller and taller. It sprouted tiny green tomatoes, and Jack was thrilled. He couldn't have done it without his little sister's help, and he was grateful to her for teaching him so much. In the end, Emily's garden became a place of learning and discovery for the entire village. People would often stop by to see what new plants she had grown, and Emily would happily share her knowledge with them. Her love of gardening had taught her so much, and she was eager to pass on what she had learned to others. And so, Emily continued to tend to her garden every day, always looking for new plants to grow and new things to learn. She knew that there was always more to discover, and she was eager to explore the world around her. One day, as Emily was tending to her garden, she noticed that one of her favorite flowers had started to wilt. She was saddened by this, as she had grown very fond of the flower and its vibrant colors. She didn't know what to do to save it. Emily's mother noticed her daughter's distress and asked her what was wrong. Emily explained about the wilting flower, and her mother suggested that they ask the village gardener for advice. The village gardener was an older woman who had been tending to the village gardens for many years. She was known for her expertise and knowledge of all kinds of plants. Emily and her mother went to visit the village gardener and showed her the wilting flower. The gardener examined the flower and explained that it needed more water and nutrients. She showed them how to fertilize the soil and how to water the plant properly. Emily was fascinated by the gardener's knowledge and asked her many questions about different plants and how to care for them. The gardener was happy to share her knowledge, and she invited Emily and her mother to come back and visit her garden anytime they wanted. From that day on, Emily spent a lot of time in the gardener's garden, learning about all kinds of plants and how to care for them. She helped the gardener plant new flowers and vegetables, and she was amazed at how much she had learned. The gardener became a mentor and a friend to Emily, and Emily cherished the time she spent with her. As Emily grew older, she continued to tend to her garden and to share her knowledge with others. She started a gardening club for children in the village, and she would teach them how to plant and care for their own gardens. She also started a community garden where people could grow their own vegetables and fruits. Emily's love of gardening had brought her so much joy and fulfillment, and she was happy to share that with others. She knew that there was always more to learn and discover, and she was eager to continue exploring the world of plants and nature. And so, Emily's story became one of growth, learning, and sharing, a story that inspired many others to find their own passions and to share them with the world. As Emily's gardening club grew in popularity, more and more children in the village became interested in learning about plants and gardening. Emily was thrilled to see so many young people getting excited about nature and the environment. She knew that if they learned to love and care for the earth, they would be more likely to protect it in the future. Emily and her club members worked together to plant new flowers and vegetables in the community garden. They learned how to compost food scraps and how to make their own natural fertilizers. They even started a small beekeeping project, learning about the important role that bees play in pollinating plants and producing honey. As Emily and her club members worked together, they formed a strong bond and a sense of community. They were proud of what they had accomplished, and they were excited to continue their work in the future. Emily's love of gardening had also inspired her to pursue a career in botany. She studied plants and their properties in depth, learning about their medicinal and nutritional value. She became an expert in her field and wrote several books on gardening and the environment. Emily's books were a great success, and she was invited to speak at conferences and events around the world. She talked about the importance of caring for the environment and how gardening can be a powerful tool for change. She inspired many people to start their own gardens and to become more involved in environmental causes. As Emily looked back on her life, she was proud of all that she had accomplished. She had started with a simple love of nature and a desire to learn more about the world around her. And through hard work, perseverance, and a deep passion for her subject, she had become an expert in her field and had inspired others to follow in her footsteps. Emily's story is a reminder that we all have the power to make a difference in the world, no matter how small our actions may seem. By following our passions and working together, we can create positive change and leave the world a better place than we found it. As Emily's career continued to flourish, she never forgot the lessons she had learned from the village gardener so many years ago. She continued to visit her old mentor regularly and helped her with her own garden. Together, they shared stories and insights, and Emily was always grateful for the guidance and wisdom her mentor provided. One day, as Emily was tending to the community garden, she noticed a young girl watching her from a distance. The girl was shy and hesitant to approach, but Emily welcomed her with a smile and asked her if she would like to help with the gardening. The girl nodded, and Emily showed her how to plant a seed and water it. As they worked together, Emily talked to the girl about the importance of nature and how plants help us in so many ways. The girl listened with rapt attention, and Emily knew that she had made a connection. Over time, the girl became a regular visitor to the community garden, and Emily took her under her wing. She taught her everything she knew about plants and nature, and the girl blossomed under her care. She became confident and outgoing, and she inspired other children in the village to get involved in gardening. Years passed, and Emily grew old. She knew that she would not be able to tend to the garden forever, but she was comforted by the knowledge that she had inspired others to continue her work. As she looked out over the rows of plants and flowers, she felt a deep sense of peace and contentment. Emily passed away peacefully in her sleep, surrounded by her loved ones. The village held a memorial service for her, and people from all over the region came to pay their respects. They remembered her as a kind and generous woman, who had dedicated her life to making the world a better place. In the years that followed, the community garden continued to flourish, and Emily's legacy lived on. The young girl whom she had taught so much had become a mentor to others, passing on the knowledge and wisdom that Emily had shared with her. And so, the story of Emily came full circle. From a small wilting flower to a thriving community garden, her love of nature and her dedication to the environment had touched the lives of so many. Her story was a testament to the power of passion, perseverance, and the human spirit.